Everybody. All right, it's Karen Anderson with Aortic Hope. We are having just an interesting, not technical difficulty. We're having a technical, challenging experience. So things are not necessarily going to look the way that you're used to them looking, but that's okay because I'm still here. I hope you guys all saw my ever so brief Snapchat video I posted. That was a lot of fun to let you guys know I was going live to remind you. But you wouldn't need me to remind you if you would click the subscribe button and click the bell. Then you would be notified every time I go live. Right now, I actually am chewing gum, though. It's probably a no-no. I'll probably get yelled at. But in the Snapchat video, I wasn't. I had a really good time pretending I was. So hopefully you guys are all here. Click like, subscribe, bell, the whole 9 yards. You know what you're doing. This is the week in review. This is when we talk about posts that came up last week, and I'm getting your opinion and your thoughts about it. And I'm butchering the pronunciation of words because that's just what I do. So, Joshua is going to work his magic. I don't know what this is looking like for any of you, but we're going to go. We're just going to go with it. And going to talk about Medical Monday. How's that? Let's get started with that. Listen, it's so hot outside that I just cannot take it anymore. I'm literally, I melt at the thought of walking outside. This has probably been the hottest summer, June, July, that I can recall in a long time. Like, it's so hot, it's not even worth going to the pool because I feel like I'm just like a crouton in a big bowl of soup or something. It's just not pleasant. The heat wave is no joke, people. And while you're doing everything you can, I know, to motivate yourself to continue safely moving your body based upon what your physician has recommended that you do, did you know that there's a lot of foods that can actually help you stay hydrated in the process of while you're working out or moving your body? Didn't even give this a lot of thought, but many fruits and vegetables actually are really high in water content. And that can really help you stay hydrated on these excruciatingly hot days. So let's talk about some of them. Melons, if you're not allergic and you can do melons, melons are a great way to stay hydrated. Cantaloupe and watermelon, especially. You ever bite into one of those and it's just like taking a big sip of water? That's because it's over 90% water. And so that's refreshing. It's sweet. You can add it to savory dishes. I know a lot of times people put feta cheese and prosciutto and some balsamic on top of watermelon. But if you could just keep fruit handy on you, it's a great way to instantly cool down, get some nutrients, and get a lot of water in your system. And that would be by having melons, and that includes cantaloupe and watermelon. Okay, leafy greens, your iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce and other leafy greens also contain 90% or more of water, which is why salads, they're so great in this type of heat, in these types of weather. Throw some of your leafy vegetables in, throw some fruit in there. It's a great way to add some additional hydration to your body. Cucumbers, 96% water in a cucumber. I had absolutely no idea. I thought watermelons maybe had more than cucumbers, but cucumbers have 96% potassium. Don't overdo all the cucumbers now, especially if you're on potassium sparing medication or stuff like that. Ask a couple quick questions of your physician because I'm not a doctor, but be mindful of that. But again, cucumbers are great. Zucchini, summer squash. I think you can make no, that's spaghetti squash. It's probably different than summer squash. I don't know because I don't eat squash, but they contain 94% water and can be used as a hydrating pasta substitute. I was just going to say that. Just you can make it like a pasta. I think I've tried that once. I thought it was okay. But I'm a traditionalist when it comes to pasta. But again, 94% water in your zucchini and your summer squash. Asparagus. Asparagus contains 92% water. It's also very high in potassium, going to help with that dehydration. So if you want some additional tips and other ways that you can try to stay hydrated through your fruits and vegetables, check out the link to this article that was attached to this blog from last Monday. There we go. Now I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go buy a melon. I can't remember the melon that I love. It's a cantaloupe for sure. And it's called sugar something. All I know is it tastes like cotton candy. It's so good. It is so juicy and it is so good. And I'm going to go to Wegmans and buy it. because now I want it. Do we
Right
have
on.
anybody to say hi to?
Yeah, we're gonna say hi to Chef
Hi.
Tom and Melissa and
Hi.
Belda, and we have somebody new.
Oh, okay.
Dawn says, "Hi, I'm Dawn, and I'm new here, 8-year aortic dissection survivor with a big red heart."
Hey. Hey, happy aortiversary to you. I'm getting ready to hit my 10th. 8 years, that's great. Thanks so much for tuning in, Dawn. I appreciate it. Welcome to the wacky world that is Week in Review. That's our new tagline. All right. Glad to have you. Thanks, Tom, Melissa, and Velda. It's like my fan base. It's kind of fun and exciting. All right, we're going on to Topic Tuesday. I got to get myself ready for this one. Let me get the bottle of water because these med students and our resident doctor love to screw me up by putting big words in that I struggle with pronunciating. But this week, I can already tell it was written by Adam. He is our third-year med student, and he wants to talk about the various ways that aneurysms and dissections of the aortic arch can be repaired. Awesome. We haven't done that before. So let's talk about the basic anatomy of the aorta. Here it is. Look at this big aorta here. You have got the branches that come off the arch. So you've got the brachiocephalic artery that branches off to the right subclavian and the right common carotid artery. They all come off of this. Then you got that middle artery here, which is your left common carotid artery. And then the last branch is the left subclavian. If I am not mistaken, your subclavians go to your arms. Your carotids go to your brain. But I'm not a doctor, but I think I'm right on this. And this would be the arch of the aorta, and this would be your ascending aorta. This is what's coming off of your root right here. That would be going into your aortic valve. Then you have a right coronary artery and a left coronary artery. Okay, those I believe go into your heart. This is really tough. And then you have your descending aorta. Okay, so if you had a type A dissection, you dissected in here, A, ascending. Okay, anything that once you get here to the arch and you go into the descending is a type B, as in descending, as Dr. Udelman calls it, but it's really descending. Should have been called a type D for descending, but it isn't. It's type B as in boy, descending. Is this down? Once you get past a certain area after the thoracic chest area of the descending, now you're into your abdominal area. Okay, but that's still, if you dissect all the way down into there, you're still considered a type B. So just thought I'd throw that out there. So the aorta is kind of like an elephant trunk or a candy cane. So it has the ascending part that connects right to the heart, and then the arch, and then the descending part that goes down the entire body. That's what brings all that oxygenated rich blood to the rest of your body. And it's important to note that the top of the aorta, there was those three great vessels that came off, the brachiocephalic innominate, maybe I'm pronouncing it right, your left common carotid and the left subclavian. They're very important for supplying blood to the top half of your body, including your brain. Depending on where one develops an aneurysm or dissection, different repair techniques can be deployed. So a hemi-arch repair, for those of you who were told you had a hemi-arch, this is one of the most common approaches of management for an acute aortic dissection. And that includes the ascending aorta without any involvement of the great vessels. So this would be my type. I just dissected initially in the ascending, and the surgeon took away that diseased part of the tissue, the dissected section, and sutured in a Dacron synthetic graft. So when you suture it in, you have two ends. They are the anastomosis. This is where they connect. And then you have your natural tissue. See, just like here. It's sutured in. Doot, doot, doot. This is your graft. And it's connecting before your three main branches that come off of the arch. That would be your hemiarch, okay? Total arch replacement. So in some patients, aortic disease may extend beyond the ascending aorta and could include the transverse arch, which is the part of the vessels that when it starts to curve. So in this situation, a larger section of the aorta is cut out and the great vessels are sewn back into the graft body to feed the brain. So look at this. Like, this is pretty amazing, right? So this is where your root was or is, right? Where you're going to find your aortic valve. So if you had an ascending that actually went into the arch, they actually can sew in a graft that has these portions attached to it that they then attach your great vessels to. I mean, to me, I find this all very fascinating. I think it's amazing what we do to the human body. Mm. Total arch replacement. Okay. Elephant trunk. We've heard some people have an elephant trunk procedure. This is pretty complex because it's used in tissue in the lower or descending part of the aorta. So these patients can be quite difficult to manage surgically, as the lower part of the aorta is it's kind of difficult to visualize in surgery through the chest. So in the elephant trunk approach, it's a two-stage repair. So this is a big repair. So first, the diseased aortic arch is cut out and replaced with new synthetic graft. However, the surgeon will leave behind some extra free free floating graft in the aorta to prepare for stage two. So stage two is the elephant trunk that was left behind in stage one, can be controlled and used for an extension of a graft. Let's take a look at this. So this is the beginning where you had the arch, the ascending, that gets repaired. It's stented into part of the arch into the descending. So that's attached here. It's attached here. And then there is a small little graft that will direct the flow up one of these arches, leaving the false lumen to thrombose or form its own clot. See, here it stopped it because it redirected the flow into that branch that came off of the arch. It's a pretty complex surgery. Elephant trunk, okay? There is a modification of the elephant trunk technique, and it's called the frozen elephant trunk. So there are two different things. So a frozen elephant trunk can be done in one stage. It's not a two-stage approach. So here the surgeon actually replaces the damaged ascending aorta, followed by the immediate deployment of a stent graft through the open arch in the same operation. Whereas in the elephant trunk, it's done in two separate operations. The frozen elephant trunk is done in one stage, one operation. Okay. Look at all that. It's so much cool stuff going on here. Okay. That's a wrap. That's a wrap for that. So let's look at this one more time. This is your frozen elephant trunk. This is one actual procedure. This would be two separate surgeries because you have to do this part with the vessel at the top. Okay? A lot going on here. But try to familiarize yourselves with these different surgical techniques, because if you're going to need to have a repair, maybe it's a scheduled aneurysm that's coming out and it's just going to be a simple repair of the ascending, or you've had a dissection, your loved one kind of needs to understand what's going on, or you're having a procedure because you've had some other vessels impacted after an initial dissection repair and now you have to go back in. I think it really helps to understand and have some visuals so that you have better questions to ask. You're more prepared to ask before you're having surgery. You have a better understanding of recovery and how this is being managed. So visualize what the benefits and utilities of each kind of surgery would be. Okay. We are actually going to be talking this week about hybrid arch repairs and strategies to manage aortic disease. So there you go. Think aorta, people. Thank you, Adam. This was another great post. Easy to understand, interesting information about the different techniques for repairing an aorta. Excusez-moi.
Not bad at all.
Interesting stuff.
So Melissa says, back to the Poconos, Karen.
That's what it was.
Christina dropped in to say, well, hello again. And
Hello again.
Velda says that it's 100 degrees up there.
I cannot believe you can't escape this heat.
Right?
You cannot escape it. It's unbelievable.
So
I know.
When Christine dropped back in, I said, hey, is it almost 120 down there? You would think it was going to be hotter there. She says it's only 96.
It's only. I think here, I don't know where it is where you are, but I think here, like, I think I looked on my car and it said it was like 96 or 97, but supposed to feel like 100 or 101. Mm-mm. I am not enjoying this. What did this woman say? I am not a toucan. I do not do tropical. I am not. I do not like it. All right, everybody, we're moving on to Therapeutic Thursday. Therapeutic Thursday. This was a good one. I this one really gets me. When people are like, "You look so good. How can you be sick?" Oh, it drives me bananas because nobody can see that we're held together with like basic scotch tape on the inside. This is such a common misperception, not a misperception, a misconception pertaining to those of us that have any type of invisible illness. So, what you typically see on the outside doesn't necessarily represent how we're feeling on the inside. I think we would all agree, but it's okay to attempt to shine even when you feel rotten on the inside. It's also okay to feel rotten on the inside and still attempt to shine. Both are okay. However, sometimes I feel like when we are less abled, it doesn't mean that you're disabled. It just means that you are maybe more able in other areas. Does that make any sense? So we used to talk about this. We didn't necessarily love the terminology disabled. We're really just a bunch of people that are a little less able than we were before. Like, I can't do roller coasters like I used to do it before. That doesn't mean I'm disabled. I am just less able to when I go to amusement park. I can't do that, but I can do other things. I just cannot do that. You know what I mean? So I guess the question is what do you guys consider your superpower? And maybe instead of focusing on what you can't do or what you're not able to do, we need to flip the script and just really focus on what we can do now better than we ever did before, right? I would say before the dissection, I took for granted every single day. I think you worked for vacation. Well, you worked to get money, yes, but you worked to know that you got your time off. And after the dissection, once I stopped working, I got to actually, I was like, this is what clouds look like in the middle of the day. I didn't know I was in an office every single day, except for 2 days a week. Right. So now, since then, I get to actually enjoy just seeing what's going on in life. And as Melissa mentioned, I just went away with a couple other uh, aorta community members for a girls' trip. We do it every year. And just being able to be with other people that are also as winded as I am walking up 32 stairs where we have to stop in the middle and we can't even laugh at each other because we can't breathe, but we feel each other's pain. When we get into a room, we all collapse. We're like, if this is safe, like I can do this in front of all of you because you feel just as horrible as I do. Um, and nobody that would look at us would think that we couldn't breathe walking up a flight of steps in the mountains, right? They don't know this. We're floating around in a lazy river and they have no idea what we've been through. But we know each other's stories. And I think it's just a testament to the will to just make the very most of our lives, whatever that means for anybody. Because I know a lot of people can't travel. They can't do some of the things that I'm able to do, but there's also things they do that I know I just can't do. It's not a competition. It's just a reframing of your life. So, yes, there's going to be idiots out there that are basically saying to you, there's no way you're that sick. You just traveled, you just did this, you just did that, and you look great. They don't know how much effort it takes to just even look basic for a day. Um, so you just life's too short. You just put that to the side and just don't pay attention. There's always going to be somebody. I am waiting for the day when someone gives me crap about having my disability tag at a parking lot. I can't, I just want to get it on tape. I will proudly say my name is Karen in that moment because I can't stand when people get on us about using a disability tag. If it's hot, I can't walk across a huge parking lot. I won't be able to catch my breath. And so there are people that will actually look and give you a nasty look. Like, why are you using this spot? Oh, you don't even know how badly I just want to lay into somebody. I'm just waiting. I just want it to happen to me. I know it's happened to people, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So that's my therapy. $25 copay, please. You can make a donation to Aortic Cope. That's actually not even therapy. It's more my rant. Mm. Gets me going, Joshua. Gets me going.
That's a good soapbox.
I'm standing on it.
That invisible
Telling you.
disease. That's a big soapbox to get on.
It is. It is
And
big.
also,
Mm.
mind your business.
Yes. Mind your business. Right. I swear. I mean, I can remember before the dissection, once I finally accepted the fact that Crohn's disease was a disability. Because look, I don't know about you guys, but every time I pull into Target and walk in the door, I have to go to the bathroom. Usually by the time I'm at the farthest place away from the bathroom is when I'm like, oh, got to go to the bathroom. Why? Because I'm in Target, because it always happens. And sometimes it was just bad. And there's no way I could park, especially Christmas time. I cannot park far away. I might not have been able to make it into Target to go to their bathroom. And people just take for granted that if they can't see, then there's nothing wrong with me and I shouldn't be parking there. And people just disgust me and just go, soapbox. So therefore, I'm going on to Feel Good Friday. I don't want to be irritable anymore. I want to feel good. So we're going to do that. This is such a great post. We did this not too long. Well, we actually did do it long ago. It was probably a couple years ago, and it popped up in memory. So I thought I would reshare it. 20 different ways you can repurpose all of your prescription bottles. I know that people can turn these things into like your local CVS, Rite Aid, Sheriff's Department, what have you, and they'll take all your old prescriptions and drugs and stuff off of your hands. But what if you use up everything, which you should, right? Okay. And now you're left with all these bottles. So what are you going to do with them? Just don't throw them away. There's things that you can do with them. And I'm going to give you some of these ideas. We use a lot of pill bottles. A lot of people in this community, you know that you do. I mean, some of us are on 6 or 7 medications just for morning dose, right? Ideally, recycling these would be best. However, we've recently learned that most recycling centers are actually struggling sometimes to recycle them because they're too small, believe it or not. But have no fear. There's many things you can do with these pill containers. Amanda, in an article titled 20 Uses for Prescription Pill Bottles, Amanda actually says, number one, you have to clean out the bottle because there's residue. So you really got to clean out your bottle very well before you attempt to do anything with it, especially if you had narcotic medication in there. That stuff gets all up inside that bottle on the inside. So you got to clean it. So after you clean it with soap and water and rinse it, maybe even with some bleach, followed by multiple rinses of water, now you should be ready to do something pretty exciting and innovative. Okay. I still have a little bit of my cough. Lotions, shampoo, and conditioner. Don't spend money on those trial sizes that fit through TSA. Use your pill bottle, clean it out. If you're going away for a weekend, squirt some shampoo in there, some conditioner, body lotion, body wash, whatever. This is a great container to use. It's going to be, not great when you need to actually take the lid off and put some in your hand. You can't like squirt it out of there, but so much easier than spending money and buying them. You get them and you just throw them in a Ziploc baggie. That's as good as buying that whole set off of like CVS or Walgreens. Just use the containers. Anything pointy, pins, safety pins. That's a great place to store them. And I'll tell you, like you look at this picture, somebody out there created this wooden cabinet with magnets and put magnets on the tops of the lids and they just stick there. And so this is what they use in their tool area, and they put batteries like AA and AAA, and they just pull them down from the magnets. So so you can put them with Velcro, whatever, what have you, but put the pins in there, just plop them right inside. You want to have a cute way to hide money, right? Stick it under a rock outside, throw it someplace in your house. Nobody ever thinks about, I would think, if they're going to break into somebody's house, to go through their bathroom and their bathroom drawers. I just don't think they would. You could put the inside, put a really pretty, like, decorative piece of paper on the inside, and then throw some money in there if you wanted, throw some coins, keep it in the car in the glove box. Just drop some coins in there and stuff like that. That's a great way to use the bottle. Cotton swabs, cotton balls, another great thing to use for storage. Buttons and beads. Buttons and beads. People still use buttons. Throw the buttons in. Put the buttons in one. Put a couple needles and thread in another. There you go. We already talked about safety pins. Bobby pins. Do people still use bobby pins? I think my whole life I used a bobby pin wrong. But hair ties, all those like, black hair ties, rubber bands and stuff like that, throw them in there. Office, homework supplies, paper clips, I guess could go in there. Staples, strips of staples could go in. Jewelry. You want to store some jewelry if you're going on vacation. You don't want to have like, an official jewelry keeper. Just want to throw it in some pill cases and dump it in your purse, and then you get on the plane or you drive wherever. It's a great place just to throw some earrings or maybe a necklace. I wouldn't put more than one in there because it probably will get twisted and knotted, but it's a good place to put some rings and put some earrings. Travel size sewing kit, as we were just talking about. You want to just take something with you so that you have some extra thread and a button in case you pop a button, and then add a safety pin and maybe put a tiny little nail file. Great little case. Great little case. First aid kit. Throw a couple band-aids, maybe a little packet of ointment. Um, what else do you need? Tweezers, just something really small. Throw it in the car. Now you have an instant first aid kit if you want in the car. Um, this says pretty rocks, shell, and sand. I would agree with the sand. Like if you're going to different islands and places, you want to bring back some sand, just as a memory. Great thing. Use the pill bottles that are see through. Don't use like the white ones. You're not going to see your sand. You can collect shells, little ones, and put them in there if you wanted, and maybe little rocks or something, and label it your vacation and date. Matches. That's a great place to store some matches that you haven't used, and you can actually put the striking like a striking strip on the outside or on the lid. Just don't dispose of them in there. I would think if they're still hot, there's a chance something could melt. Maybe earbuds and chargers. You're not going to be able to put a charger in there. Mm-mm. But if for some reason you just needed someplace to throw your earbuds, you could, or earbuds with cords. I think they still make them and people might still use those. But even the cordless ones, I think you just plop some earbuds in there. Uh, Earplugs. If you sleep with earplugs at night, great way to store them. Just throw them in there and take them on vacation or keep them, nightstand, something like that. Hiding a key. Hiding a key is a great one because you can literally just dig a little hole, cover it with a rock outside of your house. The key stays clean. The key doesn't get wet. Throw it in there. And yeah, that's a great place to hide a key. For kids, slime, clay, Play-Doh. Great way to store. Throw all that in there. We already talked about loose change, breath mints and gum. That's a great container. Again, these are just like for grab and go type of things. Just throw some stuff in there. Garage organization, yes. For you can put different screws, some washers, some bolts. That's a great thing. And then like we saw the picture, put some magnets and store it in your garage. Um, Cookie cutter. You could use that as a cookie cutter. Just take the lid off, put the bottle right there. I don't know that I'm using that for the cookie cutter. Mm-mm. Seed storage. Sure. You want to put some pumpkin seeds, some sunflower seeds. It's not going to hold a lot, but at least if you wanted to just grab a snack and go, I think that you could do that. But if you click on the article, there's a lot more in detail. I just think it's pretty cool. I mean, look, they've got the strip that you can swipe your match against and money and all different kinds of ideas of things that you can do and organization and stuff and for crafts, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I've always liked that post. Gives me ideas on things to do. Right? Right. All right.
I would just get rid of those things.
I know you would.
This seems like a lot of work,
It does.
and I'm allergic to work.
But you know what? I was giving it some thought the other day when I went away this weekend. I'm like, I have to go with my earplugs. And I'm just holding these squishy earplugs thinking, where am I putting these? That I'm not going to lose them in the abyss of a suitcase or something. And had I had one of those, I would have just shoved them in there because that I can easily find versus it could be smushed in a shoe. Who knows where these earplugs end up? But if it's in one of these, that would work for me for sure. Change. I don't have a place to throw change in my car. I used to have like what was an ashtray. They don't have ashtrays in cars anymore. And I would throw the change in there. But now I could put it in there. See? See?
I hear you.
I know.
So we have some commenting on the soapboxing from before here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What's
so
everybody got to say?
Dawn says, I get looks, and even my own mom thinks disabilities are only physical. And I said, when family questions your ability, it is the worst. And
So
Melissa
hard.
said, Dawn, my family also thinks nothing is wrong with me. Yet they're all on HBP medications, and there is family aneurysms in 3 generations. And so Dawn says, I look fine, so I must be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your dreams. I look, I have an extremely supportive family, and still, um, they don't understand the concept of PTSD. They don't understand scanxiety, why after almost 10 years I get nervous every time I have to go for a scan. But it's like it's not nervous. I don't like needles. All right. So that's going to bother me, but that's totally normal. It would bother anybody. It's what is the result? I know the result's been determined already, and I'm just waiting to be, I'm the last one to be notified. I have to go in, get it, and I just sit and wait till the next day when I find out the result. But it doesn't mean it's not nerve wracking. When anybody's living with a condition that can change at any moment for the rest of your life, don't sit there and say, but you look great and you go here and you go there. Blah, blah. Energy, the energy that it needs to live different aspects of your life. I was just having this conversation with somebody else in my life. Um, the energy that it takes to go with friends and laugh and play Monopoly is different than the energy it takes to be home dusting and planning meals and worrying about your kid and planning a date night. Like that's all different. It's different. It's all different. Or the energy it takes to plan out your schedule to help another family member. It's different energy. They're equally exhausting, but different. Some things require a lot of thought and your mind makes you tired. Some things require physical movement and that makes you tired. But at the end of the day, everything's exhausting in one way, shape, or another. And just because people don't see you doubled over doesn't make it not something going on. But I'll tell you what, the first time they see you gasping for breath or feeling your heartbeat, this is where I like to keep my fingers, then all of a sudden it's, oh, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? It's funny. I showed somebody last week, I have a lot of arrhythmia, and I recorded um, my neck. But I don't know if you see it on camera here. You can really see my heart pumping in here. It's because they resuspended my valve. It's always been gross and weird. But when I have an arrhythmia, you'll see it do a triple beat and big pause and a big beat. And this person is in the medical field. And when I showed them the video, they were like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like that before in my life. I said, well, welcome to my world. This is what I feel at any given moment during the day, what you now see. So seeing something, it validated there was something, which is stupid. We shouldn't have to see to believe. But again, when I start to get riled up, I just dismiss it because, I don't have the energy to try to teach everybody. I only have the energy to try to explain to all of you to not care. Just go on about your day. We don't need the support like that. We do, but we don't need to convince strangers of all people that we have earned the right to be able to utilize services that are provided for people that are less able. We don't need to convince anyone about that. Oh, I'm going to go again on my soapbox. I need to not. See, I'll just keep going. You look at the clock, it'll be an hour. I'm telling you, this is a topic that gets me fired up. Hmm.
So Chef Tom says, I do not have time to waste on rude slash stupid people. And I
No,
said, samesies,
right.
right? And Dawn says, thank you for validating me and what I'm going through. You're welcome, Dawn.
Yes. Yes, Dawn. Big virtual hug. Right on. Going to have people here in this community that can validate anything you're feeling at any given moment because I guarantee you we've all felt it at some point in time. And poo poo to those that don't understand. I say poo poo to you. So, all right. Survivor Series replay. And today is Karen Bertozzi's birthday. Happy birthday, Karen Bertozzi. If you get a chance, you need to read this story about Karen. It says 6 years ago, but it was a lot longer because she gave the story to us a while ago. We just didn't change the date. But Karen K with an I and I'm C with an I. And when we have pictures together, people think we look a lot alike. But you and realize that she had an ascending aneurysm and subsequently had a dissection. That wasn't even the beginning of what shocked her. She found out that there was a connective tissue disorder that had been in her family for generations. And what's crazy is that her brothers got tested. I think one got tested, one didn't. I can't really remember, but you got to watch the video. And unfortunately, like the one who got tested, I think was able to receive treatment. The one who didn't, I believe, succumbed to aortic disease issues. But, Karen's always been such a great supporter of Aortic Hope. She's also a volunteer with Mended Hearts, and she does a lot of cardiac yoga. So she's a certified instructor. Um, so she's pretty wonderful. She does that for, I believe, Johns Hopkins Health System or Washington Hospital Health System. But check out her video of her original story here. She's doing great these days. She pops in every now and then to say hi and check out what's going on. But oh my gosh, if there's ever been a story where we need to think aorta and think family, this is one of them. So check out her story. Saturday replay. And if you have not submitted your story of survival, Dawn, we want to know your story. We want to know your story as a patient. We want to know a story from a caregiver's point of view. Even if you've lost a loved one to aortic disease, there is an important story there that needs to be told. Please be someone's shining star of inspiration and validation, and tell us your story in either written form, pre-recorded video, or going live on YouTube like I am, so you can take questions from the community. But I promise you, it'll be therapeutic. It'll be very validating. And honestly, it might be very eye-opening for family and friends to hear you tell your story uninterrupted in your words. Hopefully somebody gets that messaging and understands how significant of an event this has been in your life, and how life altering a diagnosis or surviving a dissection can be. So if you're interested there, you can always email us and we'll get a form to you, but you can email us at info@aortichope.org. Just put in the subject line Survivor Series. But if you go online underneath of our programs, I believe you'll find that link right in that section. All right, we are moving on to a very interesting, I noticed it this week, very interesting Sunday post. Typically, we share with you resources that we have, but this week was really to validate. There's a lot of validation going on this past week. Medical trauma that one might experience as a result of medical procedures, illnesses, hospital stays. All of these things can have lasting effects on us and can create what's called medical trauma. And according to Pain Scale, in an article titled "What to Do When Medical Trauma Interferes with Current Medical Care," the author shares the following. Medical trauma is an emotional response to a serious event involving medical care. So, for example, medical trauma can actually develop after an unpleasant treatment, a painful procedure, or hospitalization in the ICU. Medical trauma can occur when an error is made, such as when the wrong medication is prescribed, or maybe you even get a blood transfusion and it's the wrong type, or when a surgical mistake actually leads to a complication. Sometimes experiencing medical trauma or PTSD from a medically related event can actually be especially problematic because it can make us not want to go to the doctor anymore for your follow-up. We might not trust taking medications. We might not want to ever have a procedure again, and just not agree to it. And that's actually not a good thing for our health, right? So here's some steps, 6 steps that you can take when trauma is actually interfering with your care and with your medical health. So number 1, think about your appointment times. And Tammy on our board is one who definitely follows this all the time. She made a decision early on in her aortic disease recovery that instead of just allowing medical appointments to happen on a Monday, then a Tuesday, then a Thursday, Friday, and then the next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, she said to herself, I allow myself 2 days out of the week. Those 2 days are my only days. I will always do my medical appointments. I don't want to ever do one on a Monday, typically surgical days for physicians. So she made a decision to say, these are the only days of the week I'm willing to see physicians, unless it's an emergency, because then she can wrap her brain around the fact that this is a medical day. It becomes like Pavlov's dog. Oh, it's a Thursday. Must have doctor's appointments. What do I have? But Wednesdays, I don't have any ever. It's my play day, right? Or my watch my grandkids day. Involve a family member or a friend. She, as often as she can, has her mother go with her. Number one, it's good to have an extra set of ears because medical trauma can put us in a position where we are scatterbrained and our anxiety causes us not to really be able to pay attention. Having that extra set of ears there or hands to take notes, maybe even ask a question on your behalf because they're really interested or because they know you wanted to ask and you forgot. It's so beneficial. So consider bringing a family member or a friend. Be honest with your medical team. So, one of the ways, and we're going to introduce this concept very soon, one of the ways you can ace your doctor's appointments, regardless if you suffer from medical trauma or not, the easiest way to ace a medical appointment, which means how to best advocate, communicate, and educate your physician or your clinical team, is to be honest and to tell them what your needs are and to tell them what you're feeling and to tell them what you're comfortable with and to educate them on what you're not comfortable with, to tell them this is how I work best. I ask all of my doctors, do you prefer me sending you an email in the portal, or would you like me to call and leave a message that I need to speak with you? Or do you want me to reach you by cell phone? Because I have to have my doctor's cell phone numbers or I don't feel comfortable. That's me. That's a fair question. When I was working and you worked with different members in an organization, and as you meet these stakeholders, you might say, what is the best way for me to reach out to you? Do you want a phone call? Do you want an email? What do you want? What works best for you? Same thing. In order to ace these appointments and develop the best relationship that will give you potentially the best results and the highest quality of life, you have got to learn to advocate for yourself through proper communication and education of your physicians. And that's how you strengthen that relationship. That's going to help you combat your medical trauma. In addition, breathe, breathe. Try to breathe. These all sound sometimes like such silly things, but taking a minute to breathe, some tapping techniques. I like to swipe over my eyebrow. I don't tell many people I do it, I just kind of do it. If I'm really stressed or I'm about to walk into a stressful medical situation, and I've had a lot of therapy, but this is my grounding. This is my physical grounding technique. I'll sometimes breathe. I sometimes will have gum. So I'm tasting something, smelling something, and I'm feeling something, and I breathe. That brings me down a few notches. Um, and be willing to ask for help. There's a lot of therapeutic methods that will help you. When I have had to go to the ER for potential TIA or stroke, it's a rapid response team. There's like 5 or 6 different people being called in. You got somebody blood pressure and the thermometer and the pulse ox and the IV and follow my finger. It's too many people. It's too many people. I have to just be honest and say one voice. If you all start talking to me, the anxiety that this will provoke will have me shut down, and then I actually find I can't speak. I The words are there. I'm completely coherent, but there's a disconnect and it won't come out of my mouth. And that could be partly due to a mini stroke, or it could be more than likely due to overwhelming anxiety. And my brain just says, we're just done here. I want to talk, but it doesn't come out. So I say to them as quickly as I can, one voice, one person, one movement. Too much movement, I'm out. I'm either going to pass out or I'm just going to disengage completely, and disassociate is what I'm doing. So I'm very upfront and I'm very honest, and I tell them what I need. And when I get a blood test, I'm very upfront and honest. I'm like, isn't it crazy how I can have my chest cut open, but you're going to stick this little baby needle, right? Because I have baby veins, so I need a baby needle like a butterfly. Kind of tell them how to do their job. And I'm kind of nervous about it, so just bear with me. And I tell them, do not use a regular needle on me. I want a butterfly because I know my veins and you will be able to get that in better. You just have to say what your needs are. And we come from this world where we think that if we tell a physician what we need, that we are now deemed a problem person. We're deemed a Karen. I can say it because that's my name. We're deemed disrespectful. And I will tell you that from all the physicians I've spoken to, it is could not be farther from the truth. They want you to talk to them. They want you to tell them your needs. They don't know the best way to treat you unless you speak up for yourself. So we again are going to be drilling home ways that you can ace these doctor's appointments and combat your medical trauma through advocating for yourself via good, strong communication and proper education, and thus developing your relationship. And if you need to, just find a new doctor. When all else fails, you need to. Doctor, look, there's a lot of doctors out there, and sometimes you just need a different lid for the pot, right? It's just not going to work, and that's fair, and that is okay. I am on my second GI doctor of one practice. So I had Dr. A, left and went to a different hospital, left and went to the same hospital system, but a different doctor, different location, came back to where Dr. A works, but I'm on the third doctor there and I will never leave this man's side. I needed the right personality. Okay. And it took years before I came full circle again. You just got to do it. I'm on my second cardiologist. I found a new cardiologist right away. The first one was just not having it. I was too complicated for him. He's like down the road to retirement, didn't want to have to deal with my shenanigans. So I found somebody my age who is very interested in aortic disease. And like, it's perfect. It's a perfect relationship. So when all else fails and you're implementing all of these things to ace your appointments and to combat your medical trauma, you got to go, you got to go find another doctor, right? If you can. Might not be extremely easy, but that's our share with you Sunday. Another soapbox. It's a soapbox kind of day. Mhm. Mm.
Self
All right.
advocacy saves lives. It really
It
does.
it does. It does. It does. Okay. Events. What is today? 15th? Somebody took. Did I do that? Did you do that? Somebody took off all the stuff be part of the 11th, which
I
was
like to do
good. I
that
like
before
that.
the week starts.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Look, we got a lot. We had such a good live event this morning. If you missed this morning when I went live with Joanna 10 Kate, yes, from Global Heart Hub, this is it. This is to summarize, okay? And you'd have to act on something today. And she's in Ireland, so it's already like 9 p.m., going on 9 p.m. there. Being direct with patients. Their job is to educate patient organizations and affiliates of them, like Aortic Hope, like Mended Hearts, like Rock from the Heart, to give us the latest and greatest ways of advocating for the community, communicating with the community, helping to garner volunteers, grant writing, fundraising. It could be lobbying. Every government, they're in multiple countries. So it's interesting to learn this information from basically peers, from our perspective, from those that are with the organization. But what that means for you is that we are learning the latest and greatest and best practices all around the globe so that we can be the best providers for you to help you. We're like the change agent. We're helping you, again, develop the strongest relationship with your physician, advocate the best for yourself, learn about the latest and greatest research. All of these things, this organization is going to help us help you even more. But if you are looking for a way that you can better help the community directly, then be a patient advocate. Get in touch with Joanna. Let them know that you're part of the Aortic Hope community. And patient advocates get an opportunity to meet with other patient advocates. And sometimes you are granted the opportunity to attend master classes, summits, a variety of other courses in other locations, other countries where the expenses are paid for. The benefit of this is you are having that one-on-one interaction and building relationships so you yourself can best advocate for the community that you're part of. And this is free. This is an opportunity for you to do something for yourself and feel like you're contributing to the better good. I just look at it like we're building an army of people who are going to be armed with knowledge of the latest and greatest research techniques, treatment plans, from everything really that has to do with heart disease, all other related illnesses that cause heart disease, cardiomyopathy. What was the other one? Where the heart function goes low. Oh, I can't think of the word. Um, but it's that women's heart and heart valve disease, including aortic valve. So if you are interested in learning, you want to become more entrenched in helping people in the community, reach out to Joanna T, Joanna, letter T, as in Tom, as in 10, at globalhearthub.org. Let her know you would love to be signed up as a patient advocate. You're part of the Aortic Hope community as well, and that you might have interest in attending the summit. And if you can't because it's too late to apply for that, you will at least start to receive their newsletters that let you know of upcoming online webinars and in-person webinars that you can submit a letter of interest that you would like to be considered to have your expenses paid to attend these training classes. So that happened today. That was very exciting. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, the 16th, is our Ask a Doctor event. This is so fun because Dr. Siddharth Prakash out of UT Houston, which I cannot wait to ask him about what's been going on out there in Houston, he will be on Facebook. So this is a simulcast situation because not everybody's on Facebook. On our Facebook page, Aortic Hope's page, beginning at 6:30 p.m., you will see Dr. Prakash's picture pinned to the top of the page. That is where you can post questions, anything aortic related, whether it's exercise, medication, diet, weather, anything, and he will answer it. Now, this is a public page. If you would prefer to ask a question anonymously, there is a link noted in that event as well as in this event here on our website that you can submit your question anonymously, and we will ask it for you on YouTube. So I, along with another board member, Terry, will be talking about the questions that are being submitted on Facebook and relaying to you the answers that the doctor is sharing. In addition, we will be getting questions sent to us on YouTube that I will then be typing into Facebook. This is a crazy process, but we're at least covering the gamut of social media in a way, allowing people who feel comfortable utilizing either platform to ask questions. And again, just remember, this is one physician's perspective. So this is to be utilized as a tool to start a conversation with your own physician. Do not make medical changes based upon what's being told to you because he doesn't have your scans, he doesn't have your medical record. Asking a question like, is there a targeted heart rate for exercising when you have an aneurysm? Doesn't mean it's your targeted heart rate. It is a target heart rate for someone, but it is a question that now you can take that answer to your physician and say, what do you think about this target? You see what I'm going with this? We used to ask a lot of questions about what does COVID do to our bodies and the coughing and the rapid rise in heart rate, and why should we be concerned about this or any other flu? That doesn't mean you should be concerned. It means now you're hearing a general educational answer. Take it back to your own physician. But it is a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff that gets covered. So that's tomorrow night. Join in. Caregivers Only has a support group meeting tonight. We are actually adding a third caregivers support group beginning in August. It's going to be the second Saturdays of the month at 10 a.m. Eastern. So now we will have 2 evenings and 1 morning. This is wonderful. Always have our hangouts on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's just a time to hang out with other people like you for hours and have fun. Nothing serious, good times. We also have Qigong every Sunday at 12:30 in the morning. We have another event that I'm about to add all the details for. This is happening on Monday, the 22nd at 7 p.m. This is with Stephen Page, who is from the vascular heart community. Unlike Global Heart Hub, which helps organizations be the best we can be for you, this is an app that is free for the community. At any given moment, you can jump into this app and have questions answered about aortic disease, aortic stenosis, regurgitation, aortic valve disease, aneurysms, genetics, everything, and direct links to Aortic Hope and some other organizations and hospital systems. It's all right there on a free app that was created for you. It brings together the vascular and heart communities and everything included in aortic disease, heart disease, vascular disease, and I cannot wait for him to show this to you. We met him at the Society for Vascular Surgery, and I have been so super impressed. And he has gifted us with an opportunity of being represented on this app and having a direct link with patients that is, a massive gift. And we really are very appreciative. And I want him to show all of you what you now have as a tool at your fingertips. And then, of course, our last live event that's really very fun, is with Tara Cohen, and that's happening on the 24th at 7:30 p.m. And she is executive vice president of Lawrence Hope Medical ID Jewelry. You want to come to this event. Number one, I'm going to spank her butt in trivia. I'm going to win this time. It's happening. Feeling pretty confident about it. Feeling really good. But number two, you have an opportunity to maybe win a $50 gift certificate. That's a pretty big deal. That's a really big deal, actually. And they have new product offerings for the end of summer. They have a lot that they offer the community. And so, you know what? We're going to add that in as one of the choices of prize today. We're going to draw a name, and you get your choice of receiving a car magnet, a car decal, or a $25 gift certificate to Lawrence Hope. We're going to just set this up right now. Look, I'm digging into my secret drawer so that I can pull that out if somebody chooses that as a prize, because I just love what they do. I think it's so important. All right, that's what's going on in our events. There's just so much happening, and I cannot believe that Aortic Disease Awareness Month is coming up in September. Holy moly, what a busy, busy month that's going to be with Aortic uh, Disease or Dissection Awareness Day on September 19th. But the whole month is just going to be taking you from what is an aorta through everything that you could ever possibly imagine. So much from Aortic Dissection, the patient guidebook, some previews on aortic disease, the patient guide that we're hopefully getting ready to go into edit right now and be clinically reviewed so we can get that into print for all of you. Lots of giveaways. We're so excited about September. So I need to take a break in August, but just to gear up. All right. So that's it. It's a lot. It's a lot. We've got a lot. I'm excited.
Yeah. We had another person drop in,
We
Donna
did.
Mobley, and
Oh,
she
hey.
says her doctor told her to forget about her aorta aneurysm.
That's right. That's good. I like that. I like that
Really?
advice.
Because I
Forget about it.
said I would absolutely seek a second opinion.
Well, no, I think maybe what I would assume that doctor means is don't worry about it. You know, I mean, the doctor should be saying, I'll see you in a year. We'll get another scan. But if the doctor's like, I never need to see you again, let's pretend this never happened, jump ship. But if the doctor's like, you know what, please don't worry about this, let's get it scanned, that tells me that it's probably small, not growing, and stop worrying about it. The more you worry, the worse it's going to be. Like you're worrying, like there's no reason. It's there. It's kind of like a mole that doctors are keeping an eye on. When it's small enough, that's kind of how you have to almost look at it. And it's just something we're going to keep our eye on. And if it changes, then we will change with the change. So I don't know what the size of that aneurysm is, but
Perhaps,
I've been told that
perhaps if the
I'm
word was worry, I would be a little bit more forgiving. But that
true.
wasn't the word. The word was
What was
forget.
the word? Well,
But I hear
yeah.
you.
I
I hear you.
mean,
You're right.
yeah,
There is a second side of that coin.
yeah.
Not what I want to. That's
No,
just not where my head's at typically.
no, I agree. I feel like if a doctor's like, just forget about it. It's good to meet you. Take care. Go live your life. That would be problematic.
Well, because right, and
Because
like
yeah,
remember, you had the opportunity to meet with Steve this past Thursday, right? And his doctor was like, "We're gonna scan you in a couple of years," and I was like, "Really? They just found out about this and they want to wait 2 years to
right,
find out how things are going?"
right.
Get a second opinion immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because
Yeah,
then it also depends on size. We had another community member who was told, oh, you have an aneurysm, 4.2, 6 foot six. That was not considered an aneurysm. Two more opinions after that, and they were like, yeah, no, that come back. We're going to check it in a year. And if it hasn't grown, we can wait 2 or 3 more years. And if there's no growth, then we'll just keep an eye on it. It's nothing. You can't worry about something that if it's not growing, this could have been in your body for the last 25 years. And you just
sure.
somehow found out about it, which is great. But for someone who's that size, 4.2 would be considered at the tail end of normal. But not every doctor says it's normal. Some doctors say dilated, some say aneurysm, some say you're
Well,
a
we
big
have
dude.
a limit 4.5. That's in the
Yeah,
literature.
yeah. And
Yeah,
if you're a woman who's 100 pounds and you're 5'2", 4.2 might be considered larger because you're tiny.
right.
So your, aorta might only be the size of your thumb.
And
So
this
yeah,
is why September is so important.
so important. So important. I want to get our med students to talk online. I want them to come on and read. I want them to be really, really involved.
Right on. Melissa's over here
Yes.
shilling for the hangouts.
She's what?
She's shilling for the hangouts. Just remember,
Shilling?
in order to get into the hangouts, you have to sign up for the support groups.
You do. Doesn't mean you have to ever attend a support group. It just means the only way to be notified that we're doing Hangouts and get that link is to sign up utilizing the support group meeting registration form. So if you're interested in that and you can't find that under our programs, which you should be able to, or in our events, clicking on any of the support group event links, there's a registration form. Once you fill that out once, you're notified of all of the support group meetings and all of the Hangouts with the link to join, which is kind of cool.
Oh wow. Okay, so Donna here says I'm having symptoms now with a lot of pressure and back pain. So that's alarming. And Dawn says I know how that feels. My doctor said we'll watch the aneurysm and see if it
Yeah.
changes in a year. 8 days later, she dissected.
Right. So think of Molly. She
Yeah.
was told, we're going to schedule you, and she never made it to being scheduled. But that's because they base it on statistics. That statistically, if you find an aneurysm at a 4 point something, statistics say if your blood pressure is under control, then it is riskier to do the surgery before 5 or 5.5 if there's no connective tissue history, right? If there's no known Marfans or anything else like that, it is riskier to do it sooner than it is to just wait and do it statistically at that larger size. There may be the beginnings of changing perspective on that, but as of today, they would say we're still going to wait. And there's never a guarantee. We're human bodies. Human bodies are going to do what they want to do. It could be watching a scary movie, and that's enough to cause a sudden spike, and you end up having a dissection. So, um, yeah, I mean, if I thought about that, I'd be worried every single minute of every single day walking around with 4.7. But
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't worry about it. I go in, you're not ready. I say, and talk about, I am not symptomatic from an aneurysm because they are the majority of the time asymptomatic, typically more in the belly than they would be in the chest, unless it is large and you are very small framed. I don't feel the aneurysm. What I feel is the failing valve, the regurgitation of the valve. That's what I feel, you know. Your aneurysms in the ascendings up here isn't going to cause lower back pain. That would be more adjacent to a descending or an abdominal. I mean, you're talking big spread in your body cavity. Again, everybody's different though. You
Yeah,
know,
that's one of the
there's
things
no
about the
rule.
Survivor series. You're going to
Yeah.
hear stories from people who felt no pain at all.
Yep.
I was feeling like I had an off day. Let me drop in and just kind of get checked out. And then you have
Right.
people that are somebody stabbed me in the back of my neck and dragged that knife all the way down my spine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many. I know a person, she had a 7 centimeter aneurysm. She was probably 100 pounds, 5'5" maybe, and never felt it at all because you have to remember that aneurysm is it's always moving. You have a heartbeat, blood's going through it, so it's not sitting there like this hard. It's not a hard big bulge. It contracts, it expands, it contracts. But she felt off, and she had a lot of anxiety, a lot of um, adrenaline rush sensations. And for a long time, doctors kept telling her she was fine. She's fine. You're fine. You're young. You're healthy. And they wanted to put her on psych meds. And she said, I will agree, but you need to give me a CT scan. I just need you to triple check. Because she was young. They did the CT scan. They couldn't believe what they saw. It was like the diameter of a Coke can.
Hmm.
This thing bulged out. And 2 weeks later, she had a bicuspid valve, but you wouldn't have known unless you did an echo or CT. And they did it, and they're like, that's why you have the aneurysm. And they scheduled the surgery, and fine, totally fine. But she wasn't feeling symptoms from the aneurysm. It was the bicuspid valve, and it
Hmm.
was just making her feel not right.
So Donna here
And yeah.
says my blood pressure spikes when I do anything and I'm on
Mm.
BP meds.
Well, and so then the question is, like, again, I'm not a doctor. Is it spiking and you're taking it after you just walked across the room? Because it should be higher. You want it to be higher. Your heart has to move your body. So there's spikes that are normal. After you eat, your blood pressure should go up because your body's now digesting. So that's making your heart work faster or harder, you know. There's a spike that's normal, and then there's a spike that stays, right? It's not just a spike and come back down. So if you get up and move to another room, you don't take your blood pressure. You wait 5 minutes till your body adjusts to sitting, and then you take it. And you're typically supposed to take it 3 times. If you go to validatebp.org, it'll tell you exactly the best way to take your blood pressure. Um, but if you just get up and, like, I always tell the doctors when I come in and they're like, oh, come on, let me take your blood pressure. I always say, I just give me like 5 minutes before you take it, because I just walked across the whole office to sit down here. It's going to be higher. And if they're not willing, then I make my doctor take it at the end of our appointment when I know I'm relaxed, because that's really my truer blood pressure, is when I'm relaxed. Blood pressure is supposed to go up when you move. It's not supposed to stay up. You know, it has to come back. And usually it'll come back down lower than when you started. Um, so yeah, every time you move, it should go up.
Donna says that sometimes it stays spiked up for 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, that's a problem. Just
Yeah.
moving and it does that. Yeah, there's the good news is there's a ton of blood pressure medication, and some people are just prone to having blood pressure, issues, but there's so many different combinations. It's like be working with chemists when you have a really good cardiologist that can kind of examine that. That's why there's hypertension specialists at a lot of aortic disease centers. They not only have a cardiologist and a thoracic surgeon and a vascular surgeon, there are people called hypertension specialists, and this is all they do. There's also electrophysiologists, and all they do is study the electrical output of hearts that cause arrhythmia and stuff like that. But a hypertension specialist, that's all they do is really study the mechanism of blood pressure. It's very different than a cardiologist. Pretty cool stuff knowing those options exist. Um, yeah, there's nothing worse than hearing that somebody is aware of an aneurysm and they don't make it to a scheduled surgery. It's so frustrating, but it happens so infrequently. But when it does, it causes pause. It definitely causes you to pause. So yeah, sorry. I want to know the story. I want to feature both of you in a Survivor series. I think others should know more about your story. So please just consider it. Make me feel better.
Yeah.
I love learning,
And just remember, if you're going to the ER and you're not sure what to say, CT scan for definitive results.
Yeah. I'm an aortic disease patient. Something's not right. I need a CT scan. If they're not putting you right in, you're better off leaving. You really are, and go to the next hospital if you have one that's within safe driving distance. If they're not willing to put you in, you need to talk. I would ask to speak with charge nurse. I'd ask to speak with the hospitalist. I'd ask to speak with the next person in charge, because you just let them know I am an aortic disease patient. I'm being monitored with an aneurysm right now. I'm uncomfortable. I need a CT scan. Yeah. Yep. It's going to be the quickest way. Even if you're allergic, it's still going to be the quickest way for them to see what's going on. Good tagline use there, Joshua.
Right on.
All right.
And it was nice to meet you both, Donna and
So nice.
Dawn.
Thank you so much for coming out. Let's put some names in, and let's pick a name of somebody who will.
Oh, are we doing that?
Yeah. We have Christina, Tom, Melissa, Velda, Dawn, and Donna.
I have to do the whole find everything.
We're going to pick a name. First person will win their choice of a magnet or a decal. And if they already have one, then we'll talk offline about something else. I've got a bunch of things I can get you. And the other person is going to be the big winner, who gets a $25 gift certificate to Lawrence Hope. Dokey pokey?
No, I'm still trying to type names.
My goodness. My goodness.
Let's see. Velda, Tom, Christine.
Thanks again, Donna and Dawn, for joining. Thanks for sharing a little bit of information about your story.
Melissa.
I want more. I want more info. just looking at the sun blazing outside, and I feel hot just looking at it. It's like
Right.
the leaves are just, they're shrivelly. They're thirsty. We all need a break. We had a really nice, juicy, like wind and 2 or 3 thunders yesterday. And then I was like, oh, it must feel cooler outside. It was a sauna when I went back out. I literally just missed my mouth. I hope you all saw that.
Right on.
That was good. Okay.
All right, let's see how this goes. Are we ready?
Uh-huh.
We're gonna move this
First
over
winner.
here.
First winner for your choice of decal, magnet.
And we're spinning.
It's spinning. Wheel of names. Do.
Christina wins.
Christina.
Are we spinning again? Did you say we're spinning twice?
Yeah, now the person you're going to get now is going to get a gift certificate to Lauren's Hope.
All
I'm
right.
pulling out my info.
And we're spinning again. Donna.
Donna? Is that what you said?
Yep, Donna.
Donna. Pop my email to both of them so they can, or send them that contest information. No, pop my email to both of them because I need to reach out.
aortichope.org.
Thank you. info@aortichope.org. Donna, shoot me a quick email at info@aortichope.org so that I can get your $25 gift card promo code that you can use to get an item from Lauren's Hope Medical ID Jewelry. It can be a tag that hangs from your keychain. It can be a bracelet. So many different choices for you to have there, and they can help you determine the best acronyms to go on the back of your ID tag. And Christina, you know the drill. Send me a message, girl, so I can send you your choice of magnet or card decal.
She's good at winning these
Thanks,
things.
everybody.
I feel like she wins a good amount of these things.
She does.
Right?
We have our regulars because we're gonna have bingo coming up in August.
No, I mean specifically
yeah.
the Wheel of Names. I feel like she wins them on the regular.
Well, it was Velda for a really long time,
Velda's
right? And Melissa.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again so much. Do me a favor, please. Click like, click subscribe with the little bell. Then you're gonna know when we go live next week. First of all, on Monday for Weekend Review, but next Tuesday with Dr. Prakash. Oh, wait, and Monday with Stephen Page from Vascular Health Community. There's a lot. I can't think of it all, but just click the subscribe button and the bell. Then you'll know when we're going live. And I would love to hear from all of you again. And we'll chit chat about whatever it is that's going on. But thank you all for joining so much. I appreciate it. Share this because someone will get something out of these conversations. I guarantee it. And thanks, Josh. And we will talk again soon. Everybody have a great rest of your day and stay cool. Thank you.